Hi, I'm Maya Dion, and I am your Bounce Back Widow Coach. I'm the CEO and founder of Widows Do Bounce Back, and here we help people grow in the gap that grief left behind. If you're looking for how to grow forward and you're just not sure where to start, I've got amazing tools for you. I'm here as your queen of how of all things widow to help you map your how to doing the things that define growth, happiness, and peace for you going forward. Be sure to check out my channel on Instagram and on Facebook, and check out the links below to find me elsewhere on the web. If you're looking for membership or community or even events and retreats, please check out the links below. It's all there in the description. Make sure you stay to the end of the video. I've got some goodies in that for you, and I'll see you in the comments. Thanks for watching. And one of them said to me, "Mommy, my friend said you were pretty, and I didn't like it." I was like, okay. Welcome back. This is Maya Dionne, your favorite widow coach. And this is the Dating in Widowland series. I am, again, Maya Dionne. I am your bounce back coach. All of my details are in the details below. I won't bore you with all that stuff. Don't forget to like and share if you love this. And here we go. This segment of Dating in Widowland is called Kids, Family, In-Law, and the setting the boundaries of dating in widowland. So let's jump in. All of these videos are not going to be super, or not all going to be instructional. Some of them are just going to be me talking about what my interpretation of it and my experience was. And so let's get comfortable and talk about when it was me. When it was me, and because this is the YouTube that my in-laws can see, I'm not going to talk about them too much. They really didn't, well, they really didn't have much of an impact at the time, because there are reasons why we set boundaries as widows, why you have to set boundaries as widows in your dating life. And we all know what the reasons are, but in case, you haven't run into all the reasons yet, I'm going to run them down. Some of the reasons that we have to have boundaries are because everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. And if you weren't allowing these people into your marriage bed and your marriage, a relationship, ups and downs, why would you let them into your dating life? And even if you were, was it good or do you regret it? Right? Sometimes people think they know what's best for you, but they haven't been you. They're not in your shoes. They may make decisions that they think is best for you based on their own experience or based on not being in a space of losing their spouse. They may have a whole husband at home that they've never had to bury and don't know what it's like to do what you're doing, don't know what it's like to feel what you're feeling, and don't have the truths that you do. So, especially when those people are, maybe divorced, they tend to have a lot of unsolicited advice. And that's not something that you can actually validly take into your consideration because their experience is not your experience. And therefore it's not always a good judgment call. Plus, there is a stigma around because you're brokenhearted that you no longer have a brain, that you no longer can tell right from wrong and red flags from green. And I don't subscribe to that doctrine. I don't believe that to be true. I think that we allow our judgment to be clouded sometimes because we want the adventure. We want the unknown and we want the attention for some things. And there's nothing wrong with that. We deserve attention. We deserve adventure, and we deserve, diving into the unknown sometimes and learning something new. However, sometimes we do it knowing it's risky. Sometimes we want to feel something, and that's your adventure to have. You're entitled to that. People trying to keep you from being hurt and keep you from being used. We all understand that this is something that certain vulnerabilities can be covered by our friends and our family. But ultimately, we need to have the autonomy. We need to have the power and the control over our own lives and our own decisions, so that not just so that we are making sure that we are doing things in our own best interest, using our own facts and truths, but so that it's not somebody else's fault that you make a wrong turn or make a mistake or do something that you regret, right? So, when it comes to my experience, the reason that I wound up keeping a lot to myself, meaning the man that I decided that I dated the longest, that I wound up marrying eventually, that relationship was a secret. It was a secret, and we were together for 6 years before anybody really knew about it. And our way of announcing our relationship was that we were pregnant and we were bringing a baby into the world and we were moving in together and we're together now. And I know you're like, 6 years, what? But there's a story, there's a reason, I promise. So at first in my relationships, when I was just dating, just to date, when I was, like I said, a few videos back, that I chose dating to be an outlet for me, and I shared all of my adventure, and that backfired a lot, like badly. I won't get into too much detail, but I found out that there were family members that, when they found out or that I was seeing somebody, decided to judge me, and judge what they didn't know about what was going on in my relationship, that I was, not following God and all the things and all up in my relationship with God, which is, I maintain that I'm not going to judge anybody. I don't have a heaven or hell to put anyone in. So I can present you with what it says, and that's all there is. So anyway, and then there was the kids portion where there was at first, because these guys that I was dating were friends, I felt like, it wasn't horrible to like introduce them, to have them, to see, to see mommy go out with somebody or to meet mommy's friend or whatever. And that didn't really backfire badly, because I never was with anybody enough to give that a chance. But I did have the thoughts, because I went to one incident where, I have boys, I have two boys, and I was picking them up from jujitsu. And one of them said to me, "Mommy, my friend said you were pretty, and I didn't like it." I was like, okay. And so I understood at that moment that even though he was 6 or probably 8 years old, at that moment, I realized it is going to be very difficult and hard on my kids to watch mommy date, to be part of that. And they don't need to be part of that. It's not their business. It's not their responsibility. It's not their burden to worry about their feelings, about another person that mommy may or may not end up with in the long run. There's no reason for attachment. There's no reason for introduction. So for the kids portion, I decided to set the boundary that, if I wasn't serious about this person for a solid year, he didn't even need to know. He didn't need to have proof that my kids exist. No. And that worked out very well for me. As far as family and friends and the boundaries set up there were concerned, I learned to keep my business to myself, and I'm not saying don't have friendships, don't trust friends, don't trust family. I'm saying decide what you're okay with losing due to their opinion. I'm gonna say that again. Decide which parts of your relationship that you want to share, that you are okay with losing if they have a difference in opinion. For example, if I am okay with dropping a relationship that I'm in, um, because my mom don't like him, then I can share with my mom the things that, about that relationship. If I'm okay with changing my boundaries and my ideas about sex or money or household decisions, handyman work, anything that I have my mind set on, and I'm okay with my friends changing my mind about that, then cool, you know. But if I'm in a space where I'm really the one that needs to be the have the end and the last say, and I'm not interested in battling my family and friends about this particular aspect in my relationship because I want to be able to comfortably keep this person around and comfortably introduce them later or something, then that might not be something I want to share. So, or they might not be somebody I want to share with my family and friends. And so that I think is where you need to decide your boundaries. Your boundaries need to be, again, I'll repeat it for you. What are you willing to share that could possibly be taken away from you or causing you to choose sides based on their opinion? That's an easy way to decide, do I share this or not? Do I decide, do I share that, he asked me about sex today, or do I not want to be swayed by somebody else's opinion? Do I want this to be my decision? Keep to yourself, or do I really want, my girlfriend's input because she's a widow too and she went through this, and share with your friend. Or do I not really want this input because she's a divorcee and she's been painting the town, and I don't know if I'm gonna like her opinion, and she's gonna treat me differently if I choose differently than her. So like, there, your friendship dynamics, your relationship dynamics with your family, and your relationship dynamics with the children. So you decide what you want to share and what those boundaries are. And it's one thing to have them in the back of your head and go, okay, I know what they are. But it's another thing to write them down, because writing things down, and the reason that people journal is it really helps you see on paper who you are. It really begs you and calls you to agree with what you've written down. Do you really agree with that? Or is that something somebody told you to believe? Or that's something you've been raised to believe? Or that's something you believed before when you were married and feel differently now? Like, how have you changed? Have you grown? Are you the same in these ways that seem to be knee jerk for you as far as what your boundaries are? Because one of the boundaries for me was, I'm not going to date a man that doesn't have children already, because I didn't want him to be experimenting on my children. And that was a belief that I had before. I was when I was still married as a mom and a wife. That was a belief that I had grown to have watching my friends date people without kids. And I'm thinking, well, I'm a mom now. This is how I feel. But actually, the man I wound up marrying and dating for a long period of time before we got married did not have kids. So I did change on that. And if I had shared that with somebody else who knows that that was my value before, my boundary before, then how would they have made me feel about that? They may have said biased things. They may have nitpicked at things and swayed my opinion to be like, yeah, you're right. I did say I didn't want a man without kids, and everything he's doing is like, this, that, and the third. And having a third nagging opinion, I shouldn't say a third, or your opinion and the person that you're with, but having an extra worrier in your head, we don't need that all the time as women, because we worry enough. We overanalyze enough. And so having someone else in our heads over our shoulders, nagging and overanalyzing, can be more stressful than it's worth. And so decide what your boundaries are based on those people. So in the comments or to yourself as a journal prompt here, write this down. The boundary I want to set around a person that I date and my kids is, how long will it be before I'm allowing this person to meet my children? In what capacity do I want him to meet my children? Do I want it to be a at-home visit, a gathering in public, a family gathering, How do I want to introduce this person to my kids? How do I want to explain that? Because that, I can tell you, is something weird, an awkward moment if you're doing it on the fly. um, do I want to introduce as far as family and friends? How long do I want to wait before I introduce this person to my family and friends? Which things am I going to be willing to share because I don't mind other people's opinions swaying or weighing in on mine? What things am I not willing to share because they could cause a breakup that I'm not willing to have or I don't want to have? What things am I willing to keep to myself to preserve the relationship, to have something that's just between us and not part of what my family and friends are part of as well? What's sacred in our relationship? Okay. This is a short one, guys, because this is a lot of inner work. This is a lot of deciding who you are now, who you're going to be next, and what that's going to look like. And mapping out these boundaries is so important because it's not so much that these boundaries are who you're going to be next. It's that these boundaries are going to help you by trial and error decide once and for all what feels good for you and what fits for you. You may say some things in the beginning are boundaries and find out they're not. Find out differently, like I did, with the whole man with kids thing. You might find out. But setting them down and writing them down and seeing who you are on paper and then challenging yourself to be that and deciding whether or not that feels good or maybe needs to grow, venture of getting to know and falling in love and finding next to you. I hope that was helpful for you guys. I hope that was everything you were looking for. In the next segment, and the very last segment for the Dating in Widowland, we have the second heartbreak segment. How to deal, how to cope, and how to keep your heart open in the dating game. I'm Maya Dionne. If you love this, like and comment and share. All the shareables are in the details. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Thanks for watching Dating in Widowland. I hope you loved what you saw here. I hope the information was so helpful for you. This is a series. If you're looking for more in-depth, really juicy, awesome information from someone who actually dated and remarried in Widowland, please check out the rest of the series below. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop them below. I always answer my comments. Thanks for watching. Bye.